You barely hear your instruments. You're running on feel, instinct, and trust. Now imagine landing on that deck, perfectly, with zero visibility. This is not a scene from a movie. This is night carrier landing, and it's real. Navy pilots call it the scariest thing you can do in an aircraft. In this video, we're breaking down why night traps are so dangerous, how they train for it, and what happens when things go wrong. You'll see cockpit footage, landing visuals, night ops, and expert insights. So strap in, because this might be the most intense few minutes of aviation footage you've ever seen. And if you love military aviation, aircraft carriers, and the crazy skill of elite pilots, subscribe now, because we dive deep into the world most people never get to see. This is Night Carrier Landings, the scariest thing Navy pilots do. Landing on an aircraft carrier during the day is already one of the toughest jobs a pilot can face. But at night, it becomes a completely different challenge, one that pushes every skill to the limit. First, there's visibility. At night, pilots lose nearly all visual references. The vast ocean around the carrier blends with the dark sky, making it almost impossible to gauge distance or altitude by sight alone. To make matters worse, the carrier deck isn't stationary. It's constantly moving and pitching with the waves. A ship that's 1,000 feet long can rock side to side and rise and fall by several feet in just seconds. Pilots have to adjust their approach continuously, compensating for this unpredictable movement, all while flying at speeds over 120 miles per hour. On top of that, there's the issue of lighting. To keep the ship invisible to enemies, the flight deck is dimly lit with only the minimum essential lights. Pilots rely on the meatball, a series of colored lights that indicate whether they're too high, too low, or just right on the glide path. Missing the meatball can mean coming in too fast or too slow, and either way, it's dangerous. Then there's the arresting gear, a system of cables stretched across the deck that catch the aircraft's tailhook and bring it to a stop in just a few seconds. At night, targeting these cables with precision is even harder. And if the pilot misses, it's called a bolter, and they must circle back and try again. Fatigue, weather, and the pressure of dozens of eyes watching every move add to the intensity. This is why night carrier landings are considered the pinnacle of naval aviation skill, and why pilots train for years to master it. Now, let's step inside the cockpit to see what the pilot experiences during a night carrier landing. In the dark, the pilot's eyes rely heavily on instruments. The glass cockpit displays crucial flight data: altitude, speed, glide slope, and heading, all illuminated softly to avoid ruining night vision. One of the pilot's most important tools is the heads-up display, which projects landing information directly onto the canopy glass. This means the pilot can keep their eyes forward and still track critical data. Along with instruments, communication is vital. The pilot maintains constant contact with the landing signal officer, the boss, who watches the landing from the deck and gives real-time corrections through radio calls. The LSO's voice is calm but firm, guiding the pilot like a coach on the most difficult landing course in the world. Every adjustment, whether to throttle, pitch, or roll, must be precise and timed perfectly. A half-second delay or a small overcorrection can mean missing the arresting wire, or worse. The aircraft's controls feel different at night. Without visual cues, pilots must trust their training and instruments more than ever. The aircraft might feel heavier or lighter due to wind gusts, carrier movement, or even turbulence over the ocean. Pilots also wear night vision goggles in many cases, which amplify available light but create their own challenges. Depth perception is tricky, and the goggles can distort peripheral vision. Despite all this technology, the landing remains a delicate ballet of human skill and machine precision. One wrong move, and the pilot risks a bolter, or a dangerous missed approach. But when everything comes together, it's a flawless touchdown. The pilot's reward for hours of training and nerve. In the next section, we'll introduce you to the unsung heroes of the deck, the crew who make sure these landings are possible. When you think of a carrier landing, you probably imagine the pilot doing all the work. But in reality, every successful night landing is a team effort. On the flight deck, a group of highly trained professionals make the impossible possible. These are the deck crew. And at night, their job becomes even more intense. Let's start with the landing signal officer, or LSO, positioned at the back of the carrier. The LSO watches every incoming aircraft using optical systems, infrared cameras, and years of experience. With a clear view of the flight path, the LSO radios live instructions to the pilot. You're low. Add power. Wave off. It's like guiding a blindfolded runner down a moving tightrope in the dark, with lives at stake. Then there's the flight deck crew, recognizable by their color-coded jerseys. At night, these crews operate under low visibility, loud noise, and tight timing. Yellow shirts direct aircraft movement. Green shirts operate the catapults and arresting gear. Red shirts handle fire suppression and weapons. Purple shirts manage fuel. Each person knows their job, their timing, and their role in the choreography of the deck. During night ops, communication is handled with hand signals, glow wands, and sometimes radios. There's no room for mistakes. A wrong signal could lead to a crash, a fuel spill, or worse. And they're not just working with one plane. Dozens of aircraft land, refuel, and launch in tightly packed rotations. Imagine doing all this in total darkness, with jet blast and rotor wash roaring just feet away. Every time a plane hits the deck and is caught by the arresting wire, the deck crew springs into action, clearing the runway, resetting the wire, and prepping for the next landing in under 45 seconds. They're the heartbeat of the carrier, ensuring each night landing ends safely. Without them, even the best pilot wouldn't stand a chance. No one is born ready to land a fighter jet on a moving ship, in total darkness. So how do Navy pilots learn to do something so extreme, so unforgiving, and so precise? It starts long before they ever touch a carrier. First, they train in advanced flight simulators, realistic cockpits surrounded by high-resolution screens, motion platforms, and night conditions. These simulations recreate every variable. The roll of the sea, deck movement, turbulence, instrument readings, and even radio comms. Here, pilots practice approach after approach, learning how to rely on instruments instead of sight, how to find the glide path using the meatball, and how to respond when things go wrong. Once they master the simulator, it's time to take to the skies. In real aircraft, pilots perform field carrier landing practice. Basically, carrier landings on land. The airfields are marked and lit exactly like a carrier deck. LSOs are there to grade every pass. Pilots make dozens of these practice landings day and night until their scores are high enough to move on. Then comes Night CQ, carrier qualification. This is where they land on a real carrier at night for the first time. It's a make-or-break moment. Only the most disciplined, focused, and skilled pilots pass this test. Those who can't master night landings won't continue with carrier operations. But those who do earn something more than just wings. They join a select group of aviators who have learned to land on a 100,000-ton ship, in the dark, in motion, in danger, and walk away like it was routine. Behind every perfect trap is years of practice, thousands of hours, and nerves of steel. Even with elite training and advanced technology, night carrier landings are never guaranteed. Things can and do go wrong. And when they do, the consequences are immediate and severe. One of the most common events is a bolter, when a pilot misses all the arresting wires. Instead of stopping, the aircraft keeps rolling and has to power up instantly to take off again. In the dark, this is terrifying. There's no runway ahead, only 100 feet of deck, and then open ocean. Pilots must react within seconds, slam the throttle, lift off clean, and come around for another try. Then there's the waif-off, when the LSO determines a landing is too dangerous and orders the pilot to abort. Maybe the plane is off glide path. Maybe the deck isn't ready. Maybe another jet is still clearing the wires. Whatever the reason, wave-offs are the LSO's final line of defense, and they've saved countless lives. But not every situation ends safely. There have been catastrophic failures during night landings, engines stalling during bolters gear malfunctions, or simply poor visibility causing a missed alignment. When an aircraft crashes, the deck crew's training kicks in instantly. Fire crews respond in seconds. Medical teams stand by. The carrier goes into emergency recovery mode. Black box footage from past incidents shows how chaotic and heroic those moments can be. Some pilots eject safely. Others don't make it. These risks are real. They're why night landings are practiced so rigorously. And it's also why every successful touchdown, every hook-on wire, is more than just a maneuver. It's a testament to the pilot's skill, the crew's coordination, and the extreme demands of operating jets from a floating airstrip in the dark. Carrier aviation at night doesn't forgive mistakes, but it honors precision. We've seen how difficult night landings are for fighter jets. But the E-2C Hawkeye? That's a whole different story. The Hawkeye is large, bulky, and top-heavy. With a 24-foot rotating radar dome and a tailwheel landing gear, it wasn't built for elegance. Yet it routinely lands on the same deck as F-18s, in the dark, in rough seas, and often in combat conditions. What makes the Hawkeye special isn't just its size. It has limited forward visibility from the cockpit. Its approach speed is lower, and it behaves differently during descent. Unlike fighters, it requires a gentler but more precise angle, or the aircraft risks tail strikes or hard landings. Even the deck crew treats the Hawkeye's arrival differently. The arresting gear tension is adjusted, and they clear more space. And yet, the pilots who fly this radar giant make it look routine. Many of them have hundreds of night traps under their belt, guiding this flying command center to the deck with pinpoint control. Some of the most iconic night landings in naval history involve the Hawkeye. Through storms, power failures, and even emergencies with only one engine, the Hawkeye doesn't just land, it brings home the fleet's eyes and ears. Because without its surveillance and coordination, the strike group is blind. So every time it traps at night, the whole carrier breathes a little easier. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but the Hawkeye is the quiet legend of carrier aviation. Night carrier landings are more than just aviation skill. They're a high-wire act of coordination, bravery, and perfection in motion. Whether it's the adrenaline of a fighter pilot, the focus of a Hawkeye crew, or the unseen heroism of the deck teams, every single role matters. In the pitch black, surrounded by roaring engines and crashing waves, these men and women turn chaos into choreography. Every landing you saw today wasn't just a maneuver. It was a mission completed, a team succeeding under pressure, and a story of trust in the toughest conditions. And now, if this gave you chills, if you respect the grit it takes to fly and land in the dark, we'd love your support. Hit that like button to show some love for these legends of the sky. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dive aviation videos just like this. We're breaking down the toughest jobs in the air, from dogfights to rescue ops, refueling missions, and more. And tell us in the comments which landing gave you goosebumps. Thanks for watching, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next flight.